Hi, welcome back to another short tutorial, and this time we're going to continue on the topic on Microsoft Excel. And as you can see on your screen, we have here this file. Now I'm gonna also give you the link for the file for you to download so that you're just gonna be editing it and you can follow the instructions on your screen. Okay, so when you're already done downloading it, you can open it, and then so that you can follow this tutorial step by step. You can just pause this video for a while, and then when you're done, you can resume. Okay, so when you're done downloading it, please open the file, and if you have the file open now, you can see on your screen that you have this information comparison from the title itself, comparison of car loans. So this table is going to show us a comparison of, let's say for example, in the future you're trying to purchase a car, and it's gonna be from one car dealer to another. You can compare their terms so that you'd be able to wisely make a decision on which car dealer should you actually consider. Okay, so sorry for that. Let me just close this for a while. Okay, so as you can see here on your screen, you have here the information: selling price, down payment, principal, and so on and so forth. But some of those cells are actually empty. This is because we're going to put information or data there. Principally, these are formulas. Okay, so Microsoft Excel is actually going to, when we're done inputting the formulas, Microsoft Excel is actually going to do the stuff for us. Okay, so we have here initial data such as the terms in months, so 60 months, 48 months, 36 months. So for this particular dealer, the annual interest rate is 7.61%, the other one is 8.15%, and then the other one is 9.25% if it's 36 months. Okay, so let's go on ahead and try to do this. So we're also going to brush through some skills you've learned, and that is formatting in Microsoft Excel as we go on inputting some data. Okay, this exercise is actually going to, let me just close this first. I'm sorry for the interruption. Okay, so this exercise is going to give us a practice using spreadsheets, but it also demonstrates how a spreadsheet can be used to assist people in making decisions. No, so that's what I've told you earlier, or mentioned to you earlier, is if you'd like to purchase a car in the future and you'd like to consider some options, you can, and we were going to enter formulas in a while into the spreadsheet so that you can see the total cost for each option, so we can compare. Okay, another important aspect in this exercise is to learn about the absolute and relative references. Okay, so what I'm just, let me just type that: relative and absolute. Okay, so we're gonna be able to, I'm sorry, the spelling is wrong. Okay, so a relative and absolute reference, because say for example, let's have 45 and then 50. Okay, so this is about, I'm just citing to you a very simple example for us to be able to understand the difference. Okay, so 45, so let's have equal sign, let's say for example equal sign the 45, which is F9 plus, you can actually type it, or you can type it here, or you can just click it. Okay, what I do always is I click it. Okay, instead of typing it here, if I can do that, because it's gonna be faster. That's for me. As for me. Okay, so you have here now the formula F9 plus F10. So let's make that bold. So example, if I change this 56, okay, so automatically this changes. Okay, and then let's try to do some more. 78. Just trying to show you the difference between 90 and 67. So for us to be able to do the same formula here below, what we can do is just we can fill, or we can in other words, you can automatically, you don't have to do the stuff again one by one, but you can just drag this to the right. Okay, automatically when you click this, you have the formula, right? Okay, another way of doing the fill, let me undo that first for you, is you click this formula and then click on the fill button here, and then because we're going to the right, so we're going to choose right. I'm sorry, let me do that again. I need to select first. That way, okay, so fill, then right. There, so you have the formula. So this type of formula is what you call as relative. Okay, relative, because as you move to the other cells for the formula, let's say F9, if I click on this and do it here, automatically this will be F10, right? I'm sorry, G9. So this is going to be G9 plus G10. So next one is going to be H9 plus H10. So that is relative. But if we use the absolute, that means there are situations wherein we don't need a particular cell to move, because with the fill that we did with the relative is the cells move together with how we move the formula to the other parts of the cell. So let's say, for example, you don't actually need to move it. So say for example, it always has to be added with a part. Example, this is 90. So what I want is these numbers will be added to this 90 only. Okay, to this 90, this number here. So what I'll do now is equal sign, click 56. Okay, let me just do that for these are the numbers that I'm gonna be using. Okay, I just highlighted it so that you won't be confused. So say for example 56, which is this. So I'll put, always remember to use the equal sign for any formula. Click, and then plus, because I need to add it to 90, to that value there, 90, and then enter. Okay, so what I'll do now, so that all of these numbers will be added to 90, so what I do is fill, just like what I did here. I moved it to the right. Okay, but here let's try to move it to the right. Let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, what happened was that 146 added 56 plus 90, that's correct. But with this is supposed to be 78 plus 90. But what you can see here right now is still 78, because it still followed the relative. So as you can see, 78, it has an imaginary 0 here, right? So 78 plus 0, that's why it's 78. 90 plus 0, that's why this is 90. But what we wanted to do was actually 78 plus 90 and 90 plus 90. Okay, isn't it? So we're going to do that by, so how do we do that? That's what you call absolute. Okay, so with this formula, this is F9, right? And then this one is this is F what? F7, the 90 F7. So the formula we placed here is F9 plus F7. So F7 is supposed to be absolute. So that means it has to be always 90 even if you pull it to the right. So how do we make it absolute? We use the dollar sign. Okay, so we use the dollar sign for this. I'm just gonna highlight it with green. This is what we need to, this address is where we're gonna put the absolute address. Okay, so I'm just gonna click back here, and then on the formula, this is where you put the dollar sign before the letter and the number. So dollar sign, and then another dollar sign here, and then press enter. Okay, it still is 146. Okay, but if I pull this and pull this to the right, let's see what's gonna happen. I'm doing the fill, right? Okay, I'm going to do the fill. There. If you can see, this is F9, F7, F$7. Here also, G9 $F$7. Here, H9 $F$7. Okay, so what we did was we used this absolute. Okay, for us to be able to check which cells are, to validate which cells are affected, you double click on the formula. There. How about this? There. This one and this one. How about this? This one and this one. Okay, so this is what you call using absolute reference. Okay, because there are instances like what we have here now where we actually need to use the absolute reference. Okay, so I hope you understood it, and then we're going to continue with this already. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, I'm gonna remove this in a while for us to be able to, I'm just gonna hide it first. Right click and hide so that you will not be distracted. Okay, so let's follow through. So we're going to do it here now. So we select now B1 and C1. Let's just brush through some of your skills in formatting. So how do we do the format? We're trying to make this bigger, and then we're going to put a fill and color on the text. So you click on this bottom here, this bottom right arrow, small, or you can actually do it also using here, format cells and font. But for this exercise, let's just use this. There, and then you have here the format cells dialog box. Okay, so what we're going to do is make this letters bold, and then let's have it bigger by 14, and then make an underline, single, and then let's have the fill. Okay, so let's have a color. Let's say for example, the fill is, this is the color of the box or the cell. Okay, let's have this, and then pattern style, you can, let's have this example, this one. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to do this in all of your exercises. I'm just showing you that you can actually do this kind of formatting. Okay, so this is just an example. There, so that would look like that, which is, for me, it's not right. Okay, but just for demonstration purposes, you can actually do that. Okay, so I even if this does not look nice, but you have to do this for you to practice your formatting skills. Okay, so the next step now is we're going to input values here already. So we select B3, and we type in 22 to 400. Okay, then press enter. So basically there's a number, there's a dollar sign that shows here. This is the currency, because this is what, if in the case that you don't like this to appear, you just right click on it and then format cells, or you can also go back here, this one, the number, and then as you can see the symbol is dollar sign. So in our case, let's say for example it's Philippine pesos, so PHP. There, let's try to do that. So PHP or Philippine peso. There, okay, there. So it's going to appear as PHP, which I think dollar sign would be better. On our example here, we're just going to use the dollar sign instead of the PHP. So I'm just gonna undo that again. If you want to get rid of that, you go to the right, you right click on it, format cells, and then it's all here. If it's just a text or a number or a date, okay, you can do it here. Okay, so on our case, we need currency, and then we'll just stick with the dollar sign. Okay, dollar sign there. Okay, so next is we'll click on D4, which is the down payment. This is the selling price. Down payment is going to be $5,000. Okay, and then we're now going to use absolute and relative reference. So we click now first on D5, and then we put the formula equal sign B3 minus B4. So B3, which is the selling price, minus B4, which is the down payment. Okay, so that is going to be the principal. That is the amount that we will be borrowing from the bank. Okay, it would seem though like that. Okay, so so this is what we're going to do. This is the amount. Okay, so 17,400 from selling price minus the down payment, because we issued a down payment. So this is now the principal that we will be borrowing from the bank. Okay, so next is we will now select the B12, C12, and D12. Where's that? B12, this is the one, B12, C12, and E12, but we're going to put first a formula on B12. So B12, we're now going to use as what we've used earlier, the absolute reference. Okay, so equal sign B11. Where's B11? This one, which we don't have a value yet, but we're going to use that address, and then plus the total payout plus the principal. Okay, which is this one, principal 17,400. We click on that. Okay, but we're now going to use, since we're going to apply this 17,400 for option 2, which is this one, and this one, as what we did earlier, we're going to use absolute referencing. We're going to put a dollar sign after the before the letter, and also before the number, and then press enter, then there. Okay, so 17,400, because we don't have a value here. Again, you double click on it if you want to make sure which cells are affected. Double click on it. So we're going to fill it with this here also. So we're going to select here. Again, there are two ways of doing this. You just click and drag, or you can use the button here, the fill button. So click, select that way, and then now you click on the fill to the right, which I think is the other one is faster and better for me. Okay, so again, how do we do that? The easier way is click on this, and then the very small on the bottom right, you just pull it to the right. Okay, so if you double click on it, that is where those are the cells that are affected. This one, and this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so let's now continue. Again, just a reminder, everything for formula, it's only a formula if you have an equal sign. If you don't put an equal sign, it's not a formula. It will just be a label or a text. Okay? So just a reminder, for you to use a formula, don't forget to put the equal sign before typing the cell number or the the cells that are affected. Okay, now next is we're going to click on B10. We're going to put now escape. I pressed on the escape key because this was active. Okay, so if you click on this, okay, this, or be sure to, before entering something else or another formula to another cell, be sure to press the escape key so that other cells won't be affected. Okay, so B10, and then we're now going to put a monthly payment. There's a feature of Microsoft Excel which we've used also before, and that is built-in formulas, especially for financial formulas. So we're gonna do that now. So click on formulas. After clicking here, the B10, click on formulas, and then we're going to insert a function. This one, insert function. Click this, and then here on the dialog box, you see here, it's by default, it's not really sure, but what we're going to use is financial. So you look for the financial category here, this, click, then there. So these are the functions that are used for financial. Okay, so we're gonna be looking for the PMT, principal, rate, and term. Principal means that's what we mentioned before. That's what you're gonna be borrowing, or the person who's gonna be doing the loan, that's what he's gonna pay to the bank. Okay, rate, PMT stands for principal, rate, and term. Rate is how many percent you'll be paying for that, and then term is how many months. Okay, so we're going to look for PMT. Let me look for that first. This one. So rate and calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments and a constant interest rate. Okay, constant payment and constant interest rate. And then again, click on PMT, and then okay. So we will be having this dialog box. So you're going to input how many percent. So for this particular problem we have, we're going to, the computation for the rate is actually going to be B9, which is this one, B9 annual interest rate, which is 7.61% for this one, 7.61%, B9 over B12, which is this one. So 7.61% divided by this, and that is going to be our rate. So we're just going to put that value here. So B9 divided by 12. I'm sorry. It's not B12. Sorry. I was confused. Sorry. It's 12. It has to be 12 because there are 12 months in a year. Okay. So B9, which is annual interest rate, 7.61% divided by 12. That's going to be the rate. Okay, next is the NPER, or interest rate. I'm sorry, the number of payments. So number of payments is how many? Here, 60 months. Okay, so of course we're not gonna put the 60 here because again, this is a formula. Okay, so that you won't have to be inputting it to the other cells. Okay, there's a reason why we don't put the exact value because we're gonna be using the formula to the other cells also. So again, the B8 is going to be B8 again. B8, that is 60, no? And then next is the present value is this one, the principal, $5, $B, $5, because it's always going to be this one, and it's gonna be used to the other cells also. So this is why we use the dollar sign. Again, this is what kind of referencing is this? This is absolute referencing, because we're going to be using the dollar sign, $B, $5. Okay, so okay now, so this is what should, if your value is the same as mine, you did the right thing. Okay, so again, the next step is we're going to put the formula here, and here also. Okay, so how do we do that? You just pull the bottom from the bottom right, the very small square of the cell, then drag it there. So if you have my values here, you did the right thing also. Okay, so again, we used, if you double click on it, there again, so 48, this one 48, and then the 17,400. Okay, and then this one also, double click. Okay, you notice that we use this absolute referencing, so that's why it stayed with this particular address. Because if we did not use the $B, $5, we just use B5, we're gonna have an error. Okay, because it's gonna be using the reference for this one and for this. Let's try to do that. Okay, I'm gonna remove, I'm just gonna put it back later. Gonna remove the dollar sign, enter. For this is correct for this address, but if you do it to this part here already, you're gonna have an error value, because it is supposed to be pointing to this value here. The D5 should be pointing, it should actually be D5 here, pointing to this. Okay, so I'm gonna undo it. I'm just gonna put this dollar sign also, enter, and now let me pull it there. There, so we now have the correct values. Now next is this total payout. So how do we get the total payout? Okay, so the value for this is actually going to be B10 times B8. B10 times B8. So this is the monthly payment times 60 months. Okay, so we also, again, we're going to use the formula, this one, times multiplication, asterisk is for multiplication. Okay, asterisk times this one. Okay, and then press enter there. Okay, if you have the same value as I have, you're doing the right thing. And then we pull it again. We're going to fill it with this, fill this value here with this value here. There. Okay, so as you can see here, this is what it would, if you have the same values that I have here on the screen, you're doing it correctly. Okay, so as you can see, you have here the formulas already. Okay, option 1 is the interest expense. That means that is how much you paid more out of the original, or how much the principal is. For option 1, you have 3,574. For option 2, you have, which is 48 months. This is 60 months, 48 months, and 36 months. So if you can actually see here for option 3, because you have lesser months paid, you have lesser payment for the interest, which means that actually overall option 3 is where you can save. Okay, where you can save. It's just that you have to pay more monthly. Okay, 555 compared to the other. Monthly payment is 426 for option 2 and then 349 for option 1. Okay, so it's usually like that. The lesser the amount of months that you pay, the more you can actually save. But it also has to do with your capability of paying. Okay, so some would still choose this because maybe their monthly salary is what fits this particular amount compared to this, which is a little bit more. Okay, so but if you have more power or spending power, this is the option which will really save you more money. Okay, so with this example, guys, I hope that you understood the difference between relative referencing and absolute referencing. Again, let me show the example we had before, and I'll just unhide this here. Okay, so with relative referencing, when you pull the formula to the right, you have like that. But with absolute referencing, when you pull it to the right, or you fill the formula to the right, you double click on the cell, it remained here. Okay, because of the dollar sign. Okay, the referencing remained in the part where you put the dollar sign, and sometimes we need to do that, like with the example that we have here, where you need the where you need to point the target of your referencing should stay here. Okay, so I hope you understand what we did now. With the output that I'll be requiring from you, you don't need to input this anymore. All I'm looking for is this part here. This is just demonstrating to you, this part here is just demonstrating to you the difference between relative reference and absolute reference. But this is, bottom line is, this is what I'll be looking as an output from you. Okay, so I hope you learned from this, which is the most important thing that you need to learn, is the difference between relative referencing and absolute referencing in Microsoft Excel. Thank you so much, guys, for your time, and have a nice day. Bye.